Guys, can you understand me? Am I going too fast? Can you understand me, all right? Because I'm Welsh. I put subtitles on. I say it all the time. Kieran's here to do those things, you know. Jez, you know, I remember when I first started 15 years ago, I think it was, how can men get postnatal depression? We weren't even talking about mental health back then either. We weren't talking about mums, really. So when I was part of Maternal Mental Health Alliance, they obviously changed services for mums around the country, which was amazing. And obviously we're catching up now with dads now as well. So I'm going to tell my personal story. This is my last ever talk on this, sharing my experience, because I've been doing it for 13 years. I'm actually going into other areas of fatherhood after this as well. And I'm doing the 1,001 Critical Days. I'm on a steering group for that, which is really exciting. But I'll tell a little bit more about the other work I'll do. Neurodiversity is one of the factors. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD at 40 years of age. So it's really good having a diagnosis, because when you go to shop to get a pint of milk and you come back with everything bar the milk, and then you spend 2 hours talking to somebody and your wife says, "Where's the milk?" You know, it makes you understand what it's like. But it's a lot of struggles with ADHD, as probably people may know, but a lot of benefits. And one thing I do promote is post-traumatic growth, because a lot of people, if I hadn't gone for the traumas I've gone through in my life, and certainly my wife wouldn't be running dementia hubs, wellbeing centres, and I wouldn't be doing this today either. So there's a lot of positive things from trauma, I think, once you get that support. So my name is Mark Williams, guys. I'm from the Valleys. Anyone from the Valleys? No? No, okay. It's a lovely place, lovely people. So my background, it's really important to go back to my own childhood, because a lot of people have gone through trauma, anxieties before they become parents, yeah? So I got wonderful parents, wonderful family. My grandfather, my mother's side, who I know got autism, my uncle definitely has, was one of 13. And a lot of my cousins have been diagnosed with ADHD, some in our years, some have been in prison, and loads of factors as well. So it does has a link somewhere, genetic factors as well. But you can imagine in the 70s or 80s school, you'd have a clip across the ear, "Williams, you know, get out the classroom." I wasn't cheeky to the teachers. It was a case of when you're overwhelmed and you can't cope and you're not interested in French. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I've never used French on the M4 corridor at any time in my life, you know. So when I'm interested in something, I can hyper-focus, I can really look at things differently. So I just wasn't interested in that sort of thing, like also in school. But it was a way to get out of the classroom, because then I could, have a calming feeling sort of thing. So I had a low self-esteem in school, unfortunately. You know, being told, sit in the corner with my friends and read football magazine, which was great. But yeah, I left school with no qualifications at 15. So there was a lot of low self-esteem in that sense. But luckily for me, I met a wonderful guy at 8 years of age. My mother took me up to the youth club, which I still help run now. Stan Norris, MBE, he passed away a couple of years ago. And he said, "Williams, you can do anything with your life. Don't let him, just dismiss him." And I went on to become a British champion. I was a national champion in 3 different sports, kickboxing, pool, different things. But so that gave me a lot of self-esteem, because I started questioning it. And, his teacher told me I'm thick and stupid and I never got a job at 15 when I just become a British champion, And I had a window cleaning round and a paper round as well. So I started questioning authority, and I thought, no, I'm going to do, carry on. But unfortunately, I left the youth club and I went down a different route in 1990, the Ibiza scene. The rave scene, yeah, he was there. You probably see me on Ibiza Uncovered somewhere with my glow sticks and all sorts of things. But unfortunately, for 7 years, I went down a lot of drugs, alcohol, stimulants, which, I can drink coffee I'm not saying I've got ADHD in mind, I can drink coffee at 11 o'clock and be sleeping 5 minutes later. Coffee calms me down, a lot of energy drinks. It has a reverse effect sometimes, That's a lot of medication and stimulants, yeah? So amphetamines was my chosen drugs and other things, recreational drugs. Started, getting arrested for stupid things, and in police cells and all sorts of things over the years, football matches, different things. But luckily for me, I met my wife, and we never had an argument in 28 years now that I've won. I'm honest with you, but like I said, my wife is amazing. We've had our struggles in relationship, like a lot of things. People we're not perfect, but for me, it was a really turning point. So this is my story, really. Like I said, it's a story of post-traumatic growth, really. You can see the picture of my wife there when we got married in Cyprus. And when I met her, I went to sales and marketing. I'd get bored. I'd get to the top of the company and get bored, change of company, get bored, go to another company, bored. So bored I was, in sales, but it was good money. Company car, a different house then. My wife worked for British Gas, she was in a really good job. So financially, we were probably better off then than we are now, but our life has totally changed, got more meaning to it now as well. So basically, the pregnancy was fine, nothing wrong with pregnancy. But after 22 hours labour, I remember the doctors come rushing in and say, Mr. Williams, your wife needs an emergency C-section. We need to get into theatre quick. And it's the first time and only time I've ever had a panic attack. You can imagine I'm in a labour ward and I'm having a panic attack. I went to theatre, I was all gowned up, and what I see, and and I think Anna just said a good point is, for me, it was traumatic. It was massively traumatic. Now I've worked in secureness, guys, and Anna said about being control. I was totally out of control. When I worked in secure units and other areas, and I've seen horrific things in my life in units, I feel I'm in control. But even today, the worst experience, thinking your wife and baby is going to die in front of me. I'm from a lot of fathers and grandparents and birthing partners as well. Michelle instantly became clingy, won't let me go, and I had to leave the hospital on my own. I remember the first thing I did, knock my next door neighbour's door and just I had to have a drink, because I just thought, cut the baby's cord out, you go, and the three of us are going to leave, and it was just myself, so obviously that was the start of it then. And then Michelle was really becoming very unwell really quickly. She was diagnosed with severe postnatal depression very quickly because my wife tried to take her life by suicide. I remember the ambulance there and all sorts of things. It was horrendous. My wife had never had any problems with her mental health, but from that period, there was no specialist services for mums back then. She was on a ward with people with bipolar schizophrenia. We made sure it was like a day sent back and forth rather than be staying in. And she was only mum in groups, so you can imagine how far it was and the stigma around. I remember, somebody said, postnatal depression, I had that. I was okay in 2 weeks. Those sort of conversations were on in 2004, yeah. We've come a long way for mums certainly, and dads now as well. So, I was self-employed. I'd only just changed my job, really, a couple months before, because I wanted to spend more time with my new baby. So I was self-employed. I had to give work for 6 months. There was no mortgage. There was a mortgage pay. I was using credit cards. There was no money coming in. And luckily for me, I had a lot of family support, because a lot of families, as haven't got that support. But when it came to crisis, we actually, the family was involved, so I had a lot of family support. My mother-in-law came to live with us, which I was still getting counselling for now, but unfortunately my mother's not here today, but she's an amazing woman. My mother-in-law was absolutely amazing woman, and I witnessed my mother-in-law die in front of me. I found her dead in the living room, and that was traumatic. But even to that, thinking she had eminism, but even thinking of wife and babies, that was horrendous for me, for instance, as well. So basically going on for the time, my personality started to change. I was starting to avoid the situations. I was drinking because my family was there to support my wife. I'd end up, pretending to go work. I'd be down Swansea, down a casino, and all sorts of things. So I remember punching a sofa, bust my hand around about the 4-month mark. I think some of the peak of postnatal depression is around about 3 to 6 months as well. And so my mates didn't understand. I was starting fights with bouncers. Not because I was going to beat them up or nothing. When somebody was hitting me, it was like a form of self-harm. I was self-harming in different ways as well. And so it got really bad. Just horrendous at that period of time. Michelle did get support and help. We had a wonderful CPN nurse, Gail James. And Gail went on to set up the first special service for mums in Wales, PRAMS, which is still running today as well. I remember that, yeah. So Gail was my CPN nurse. After what Michelle went through, she went on to set up the first special service for mums as well. So everything was fine. Started to get back to normal. I was having nightmares thinking my wife and baby died. Now guys, PTSD is an anxiety disorder, either witnessing or experiencing a life-threatening event. That's what PTSD is, yeah? And some of the symptoms are nightmares and flashbacks, but we've got to remember it's an anxiety disorder. So I'm going to fast forward really, because when I became unwell years later, my wife's depression came back, because now she's caring for me when I became unwell. And when she did the timeline of trauma, the biggest trauma in her life was the birth experience, which I witnessed as well. So a lot of mums are not getting diagnosed with something like postnatal depression or birth trauma. It's an overlap sometimes, and sometimes different therapies work for different mums. A very person-centered approach I am. But EDMR, have anyone heard of EDMR? That was really effective for Michelle, second time. But so a lot of mums sometimes could have PTSD when they've only been diagnosed with postnatal depression as well. So going from there, I changed my career in 2005. I wasn't the same person going back to sales. I started volunteering at my youth club. And we stand, and the Bridgend County, we're trying to keep young people out of prison. And unfortunately, anyone remember the Bridgend suicides? Yeah? Well, it weren't just the Bridgend town, it was the Bridgend County, and that's where the media got wrong. So the Bridgend County is our valleys, and I obviously, I was involved with all the young people and our family members and young people I knew as well. So I started getting into mental health more, started working in security, like I mentioned, more forensic wards and stuff like that. But I still didn't get the help. I was still struggling massively. And what was a turning point? My story does get better, guys, just so you know. What turning point was my mum was diagnosed with cancer. I thought I was going to lose my mum. And within 6 weeks, my grandfather died with dementia, which I was really thing my grandfather like. So my mother's fine now. She's fine. She works in our youth club behind the counter. She's 72. She's great. But thinking my mother was going to die and all the other things I hadn't dealt with in my life, it just came to head really. That was a point when I was, I used to pretend to go on a 12-hour shift. I'd be sleeping up mountains, sleep in a car. I didn't want my wife to find out because, depression made me the biggest liar ever. I didn't want to impact on her mental health. And that was the same sort of feelings I was getting during the postnatal period. I couldn't tell my wife how I was feeling because I didn't want to impact on her mental health either. So I was suppressing those feelings harder as well. So basically what happened, I was in a car one day, I had a lot of thoughts of suicide, never made a plan, but I'm luckily I had a breakdown because I don't know where I'd be, because the thoughts I was getting, I thought, people think about suicide is a selfish way out, but it was a case I thought my family would be better off without me. I thought my son would be better off. My mood's totally different. I get my days like everyone else. Nothing like 15 years ago. I was really, really unwell, massively unwell. And so I had a breakdown. Now I was physically fit. I just won this kickboxing tournament here. And that's me 4 months before my breakdown, breakthrough I call it as well. But the symptoms were impacting my physical health, nausea, tough aches, all the bowel movements, all the things we need to look out for in men as well. So that's the thought of me actually 4 months before. So anyway, I started looking at things. I spoke to this guy, Brian. Unfortunately, Brian's not here. And, he's an amazing guy. He went for a similar experience to me. And we're in the gym one day, and I said, can I borrow the weights? And he said, no worries. I had a baby weight, so he had a bigger weight. And so basically, I said, I got to go to NHS Prams. And I said, what's NHS Prams? He said, my wife's got postnatal depression. I said, no way. I said, my wife had postnatal depression too. No way. All of a sudden, side by side, because I think men sometimes talk better side by side, I told him more things. I told my counsellor, because I was going for counselling then. I was on put on medication, all sorts of things. And it really opened up a conversation. So I went on set up a group called Fathers Reaching Out. Now, Fathers Reaching Out was only to support fathers with their partners with postnatal depression. But a lot of mums are phoning us up and saying, Mark, my husband is really struggling. I'm fine, it's no problem. And it's actually impacting on my mental health and our relationships. So what we find, I was looking into more and more and started working with Dr. Jane Hanley and other people, looking at the evidence and different things. And then I started looking at the research. And I'm still learning now, guys. This is our family now. That's my son right here. I think my son's got ADHD. I think he knows that. But we are, honestly, it's unbelievable. Me and my son, we go football matches, we go concerts. We go everything. He comes with my mates, I go with his mates. It's absolutely amazing. So, that 6 months I was home, I think benefit me as well with that bond as well, massively as well. I'll talk about perinatal and mental health. So, a lot of my knowledge comes from the parents. I'll be honest with you, like I said, I've learned so much, not just in this country, but other countries over the years as well, sort of thing. And so perinatal mental health, like I said, it's a big umbrella basically, yeah. And like Jez was saying, postnatal depression, how can men get postnatal depression? It's depression in the postnatal period. So it could be loads of factors. So when you look at my own experience, obviously low self-esteem, sleep deprivation, yeah? Sleep deprivation causes psychosis, kind of, yeah? You think so? Yeah, yeah. You know, past history, birth trauma. Now, up to 50% of dads can get depression looking after their partners with postnatal depression. Up to 50%, yeah? My argument is, okay, what if it's only mum who is struggling? Sorry, dads are struggling. Up to 50% of mums can be affected, can't they? Because anyone look after anyone with depression, it's going to have an impact. Certainly on a lot of people, and I spoke to. I couldn't go to the gym, for instance. You know, I couldn't go to those factors. The social side. I've never felt so lonely in my life during the first year of fatherhood. Never. You know, never felt so that loneliness as well. And I got a lot of good friends, and I couldn't tell them nothing. Like, for instance. So, like I said, that's what PTSD is, guys. It's actually an anxiety disorder, and a lot of fathers, you know, have gone through different experiences, baby loss. It's so loads of factors. Why? So, what's the signs of post-depression mothers, guys? I'm going to shout this out. Anyone know the signs of? Just think of mothers now at the moment. Guilt, yeah.
Tearful.
Tearful.
Hopeless.
Hopelessness, yeah. Struggle bond. Anything else? Attachment, yeah.
Sleep and
Sleep.
Not eating.
Not eating, absolutely, yeah.
Mood.
No mood, yeah.
Lack of interest in
Lack of interest. Is there anything on there that fathers can't experience? Can you think of anything? Breastfeeding may come up. Sometimes fathers may feel isolated from that process as well. So there's loads of factors. So when you think of mums with postnatal, all the knowledge you got on mums with postnatal depression, like the intrusive thoughts. Of course, dads get kind of intrusive thoughts. There's Ashley Curry does a lot of talks on paternal OCD. You know, the intrusive thoughts, those sort of things as well. So have a think of your practice. I think all the knowledge you know mums, just think can actually happen to dads as well. So these are some of the things. These are only a couple of them, obviously, as well. The other reason why it's very important to actually support dads, because what I found, we didn't go on to have any more children, I'll be honest with you. We did want more children before, prior. I think if we had extra support in place and thinking it would never happen again, who knows, we would maybe have more children. We're happy to go one, for instance. And it is stopping a lot of fathers actually having more children. I've had relationships with the mums where the mums want another baby and the father doesn't. And that can cause conflict, yeah, as well. So this is the evidence, guys. This is 2010. I know Anna said about testosterone, estrogen, cortisol levels, while suppressing and prolactin actually changing fatherhood as well. And then you got to look at this, some of the evidence. When you look at the evidence, really, it was 1 in 10 for years when I started for mums, yeah. And some of the research now was saying 1 in 5, etc. When we start screening and assessing dads, we know, and a lot of researchers say it's on par with mums, massively, because a lot of fathers are not nasty about their mental health. There's no screen assessment. Nothing in place in some areas as well. And these fathers, like myself, go into other services later, get diagnosed with a massive umbrella diagnosis called anxiety. You know how many anxieties there is? Has anyone here a time anxiety? No? Who's always late in the room, guys? Is your partner always early? What does that cause? Relationship?
Balance.
Do you, yeah. Does that make sense? If somebody's early or late? You can imagine a parent, you know, as well, a new parent as well, if somebody's got some sort of anxiety. I got really massive anxiety with time. I'm literally looking at time all the time. You know, when driving, got to be there, got to be there early. I'm constantly on time, you have to be on time. My wife's well known for being late. So those are the complex. So time anxiety, loads of anxieties. OCD is an anxiety disorder, loads of factors, yeah? So these are some of the things we've got to take into account. Now look at the ecological risk factors, changing lifestyles, yeah? You know, the lack of social support, changes in the relationship. Anna's already talked about the transition of parenthood, fatherhood. The impact on the family increases children's emotional and behavioural problems. Now, there's some research recent come out. I met Paul Ranchardani. I don't know if you ever read his work. It's absolutely amazing. One of the reasons why I got into this, looking at more, Professor Paul Ranchardani, I should say, he did some research in University of Cambridge, and there was links between severe postnatal depression in fathers to depression in teenage daughters. There was a 20-year study in Bristol they found there was some risk in depression in teenage daughters. So, it can have, if we get that early prevention in the antenatal period and postnatal period and beyond, it has far better outcomes than guys if we support all parents, yeah? We can lower adverse childhood experiences. Yeah, I think domestic violence is actually really high during pregnancy. Yeah? There's a lot of nods there. I'll give an example. One father who, I'll use a case thing. So, you got a father who's had a massive struggle on the first baby, and then no support whatsoever in place, and then his anxiety now is getting higher during the antenatal period. Right? Now he's anxious, his behaviour, different things, and that's impacting on mum during pregnancy, yeah? And that's not good if mum's stressed during pregnancy as well. So this is the other thing, if we get all our support in place early on, support all parents, that's far better. Now, when you look at the Maternal Mental Health Alliance, they did an economic report that said that if we invest £337 million in specialist services in the UK, we'll save £8.1 billion. And that is 22% on the mum and 78% on the child. Doesn't include dads in that as well. So a lot of these nice guidelines, CG 1929 guidelines, have nothing, no excellent pathway care for fathers at the moment. We did change a lot of policies. Dr. Annie Mayers, we did some things that fathers will be screened and assessed for their mental health only if mums are in special services. Only. Talk about gender equality today, yeah? So this is some of the things we got to change, guys, is get a holistic approach massively as well. And like I said, some of the research went up to 25%, but overall it was 1 in 10 in 2010. Now, Canada have just done a research study, and they said if 22% of fathers can suffer from anxiety. 22%. So, we need to start looking more and more, and there's a lot more research coming up there as well. And this is some of the prevention and intervention we can use as well. So, guys, what's the biggest killer in men under 45?
Suicide.
Yeah? Oh, that's the next slide. Sorry, I'm going too fast. So these are some of the studies. The NCT reported, 30% of dads were concerned about their mental health, and 73% of dads were more concerned about their partner's mental health. Yeah? 2015. Young fathers is another passion area. I've been a youth worker. 39% of young dads want this support for their mental health. Yeah? 39%. I spoke to loads of fathers or young dads as well, massively. And the same as myself, I was worried about social services. I was worried if a baby was taken off me, all sorts of things. I had a 16-year-old dad who was put on a parenting program because he was behaviours was differently, drinking and all that. When I talked to him, he's 70, sorry. And he went through a horrendous time. And he was put on his parent. He needed this proper support for his mental health massively. So, 1 in 5 British fathers lost connections with their children, best friends, for instance. I can relate to it in a sense, because I had a new baby, and my best mates, their daughter about 2 or 3 years older, and then I haven't got no other dads to go through. And that's why it's amazing what all the guys are doing in the Dads Group, Dads Matters, all the wonderful groups that's been run around the country now, because it's really important to go for the transition together, have those conversations as well. So that's a November report. That's an international report of us. An international report. We did some things. So this is embedded in NHS Birmingham, and they've got a pathway care in mother and baby units now as well. Oh, sorry, it's not mother and baby unit anymore. Anyone from Brockington? We've actually changed the parent to baby now. Unfortunately, don't shoot me nothing for all mums. But the idea is when mums are in for postpartum psychosis, perinatal psychosis. Can you imagine, when I campaigned for the mother and baby unit in Wales, the government said there was no need for a mother and baby unit in Wales. So I campaigned for the mother and baby unit, and because they wanted mums with postpartum psychosis to be supported in the community with dad. With dad going, well, anyone who got psychosis, it's incredible that some of these governments is just... Anyway, but we got it open after 7 years, guys. 7 years, the mother and baby unit. Because a lot of mums were going up to Bristol, going up to Derby, and the father couldn't get up to those services as well. So like I said, I'm not just about fathers today. I'm ambassador for two mothers charities over the years. I'm all about a holistic approach. There's nobody shouting for mums. I'd be shouting for mums today. And if it's getting we have to start looking holistically. I think it's... so I mentioned the biggest killer in men under 45 being suicide. Look at the evidence on this here. So a father with perinatal mental health problems up to 47 times more risk of suicide. So it's 4.8 if you've got bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD, or it shoots up to 47 times more risk of suicide. So one of the biggest risks of suicide in a man's life, and we're not even screen assessing dads like we should. Yeah? And like I said, I've come across a lot, Andy Man's Club. Anyone from Andy Man's Club? I think Luke's brother-in-law, he was a new dad, I think. What else did he set a group? There's loads of fathers, unfortunately, died by suicide. I did talk with John Clayton's ex-wife on a radio station. John Clayton had postnatal depression. He was an academic. He threw a party, went out and took his life by suicide. Can you imagine the impact? Ellen Birch, a good friend of mine, she's lost her partner through suicide. Yeah, she's an amazing lady. So when you think there's 700,000 who recommend, and that's only recognised suicide. A lot of dads I know, men drink themselves to death, smash a car up and all sorts of things, yeah? So this is only a tip. But when we look at that, one of the biggest risks of suicide, and we're not screen assessing dads as well, the relationship breaks down. And then it gets more complex then because there's no support, because then the father can't see his children then. And that's the other work I'm going into as well in the future as well, and neurodiversity and other factors as well. I know, me and Scott, we did I did a workshop in Manchester with Best Beginnings, and that really was an eye-opener for me, massively eye-opener, about the different IVF and different things, and not IVF, surrogacy, I can't believe it. That's right now, yeah. Unbelievable, some of the, can't disclose their mental health just in case they can't, it's unbelievable. So there's other areas we've got to start looking at as well, massively as well. So, like I said, even though I got ADHD, guys, you can lead a successful life with ADHD. It was a massive relief for me, but I was never diagnosed with any PND or PTSD, guys, at that time. And when I spoke to the doctors in the field, they would have said, yeah, Mark, I had treatment afterwards as well, so massively. So this leads on to, we know about the risk factors with ADHD and suicide, yeah? Massive factors which we don't know. Big population in prison services as well, a lot of fathers, etc. as well. Dyslexia, I didn't know. I thought it was just reading and words popping out. I got a different form of dyslexia, different things as well. So these sort of struggles I had when before I became a parent as well, massively low self-esteem. So how are you, Dad? So what we can do is, like I said, we can lower adverse childhood experiences. We can lower the risk of suicide. The impact on the workplace massively, yeah? So sometimes you could have a father who maybe is struggling in the workplace, new pregnancies, unexpected pregnancy, for instance. Now he's got to do more overtime in the workplace now. He's probably bullied in the workplace and he feels trapped. So it's so complex, mental health, isn't it? It's so complex. It could be loads of factors. And that workplace can come into the family life, and the family life can go into the workplace. So that's another reason why organisations should be getting on board with this, because we know that I think it's every pound we spend on mental health, we'll save £6 or £7 per person, I think it is, something like that. Family and society, massively. So these are some of the things: mental health disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar, other areas I'm going into as well. But single fathers, yeah, I think life's changed now, isn't it? Thankfully, mum is in Parliament now, and sometimes dad is at home, isn't it? Yeah? So, if dad's depressed, we know that fathers are depressed, they're less likely to follow good health guidelines, keeping the baby safe. And also, if dads are depressed, sometimes they're less likely to sing, read, dance and play, which is such an important time, as we know. And obviously, Anna's explained about that as well, massively, as well. So guys, that's about myself. Basically, the benefits from post-traumatic growth. If you want, I'm putting a website up in October. You can have free information. If you're making a donation to my local suicide prevention group, it'd be great. So all the information is going to be on in October. If you want to share it, it's a TEDx talk I've done. Sometimes just have a conversation after the video has helped a lot of fathers. I've suffered with that. I had a father recently. He said, "Watch your TEDx talk. I can relate to what you'd gone through," sort of thing as well. There's a film on Amazon Prime as well, and you can use that. So you can use all my material. I'd love to see more people get involved with International Father's Mental Health Day. We've got loads of organisations now on board. It's always a day after Father's Day. That was an idea I had in 2016, and in 2017 Dr. Daniel Singley came on board as well, and that's been actually, and the contract, that's going to go to Gadget Foundation, a big charity in Australia, are taking that over this year as well. There's a podcast. Dan Rowe, he does works for Anne Club. And Dan he had postnatal depression, and there's a podcast you can listen to. Anna's on it actually. You're on it. That's it. Yeah. Scott's on there. No, I didn't ask. No, I didn't ask. There's only 4 episodes it was. We didn't get funded by this. We did. I think Dr. Annie Mayer's on there. A lot of lived experience. Helen's on there as well. So it's How Are You Dad podcast. Get more information off the experts as well. Scott did a groundbreaking survey. 85% of fathers wasn't even asked about their mental health. And that's only like 2 years ago. 85%. Not asked once. Crazy, now. Did a report for Parliament during lockdown, and basically you can download that. It's recommendations. It's 5 years ago now, for instance, as well. It's all the evidence, and a lot of professionals have put into it as well. So anything you want to use, guys, just use my stuff as well. Oh my God, I didn't know it. I didn't do that. Did somebody else do that? You did it, Aaron, did it? Oh my gosh, I can't do that. So basically, if you want to use that code as well. So I shouldn't say that. I could have been more intelligent, I think. But hope you enjoy my talk, guys. Like I said, I am going to go into I'm more policy changing now. Like I said, I'm doing more and more now. We're doing hopefully Northern Ireland now, steering group, and obviously with 1001. But there's other areas. I got to say, it's changed my life. I'm looking after 2 guys with schizophrenia. Really changed my life, yeah. And 1 guy with ADHD, the character. And basically, 2 of the guys with schizophrenia, I've never seen each other run. Never seen each other run. But what they taught me, anyone know heard of R.D. Lang? R.D. Lang? Yeah. You know his work? With schizophrenia, yeah. It's not like honestly in the house. It's all safe, like. But what I say with people with schizophrenia, guys, is they're more creative, and it's taught me to actually, the struggles they've had in their life, and they've never seen each other run. So there's other areas of fatherhood I'm going into now as well. They've taught me art. They've taught me guitar. I'm playing guitar at 50 and 51 next. Art and drawing art. Unbelievable people, like. So that's the other area I'm going into, more mental health disorders and fatherhood, and people who can't see their children, neurodiversity, loads of factors, as well as so anything I can share over you. Thank you, guys. Am I all right with time?
Yes.
Excellent.
Perfect.